Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Guns and Yellow Ribbons preview podcast. Tonight, I have a very serious question to ask people. If you've got some boots and you've scored a goal before, can you please turn up at the King Power Stadium tomorrow? Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. This is your Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, Trevor. I couldn't think of a better thing to be doing on Valentine's night than sitting here talking to you while my wife was sitting downstairs. We did go out for a bite to eat and a couple of beers. So, yeah, nicely ready for this.
Ferg, listen, mate, we've been together a long time, my missus and myself, so we just normally go out for a few beers. So we did today. We've been out all afternoon, and it turned into a very long session. So anybody that can't understand me because I'm slurring or whatever, if I swear, I'm very sorry.
Raise the captain. Raise the captain.
I really do apologise. She just sneaks a Captain Morgan's into me hand, only because we're making room in the Coke bottle for me to top it up with Captain Morgan's for the early train trip to Leicester tomorrow, so we can have a little beer on the train. Ferg, you had a good day, mate?
Yeah, not a bad day. I was at work for most of it. Had a break for lunch with the wife, and we had that and a couple of drinks this evening when we finished up. And then got abused by your lovely wife for ruining her evening. And I said to her, it was your idea, it's your show, you're the host.
Yeah, well, I can't argue that fact, mate. She was all happy for us to do it until she had a few beers, and then she got Billy Big Bollocks, you know what I mean, and started showing off and being clever. So yeah, so here we are. She's just pouring me another Captain Morgan's as we sit here, and we've ordered the takeaway for just after 8 o'clock, so I can't be too late, Ferg.
Good.
But what a week, mate, eh? Before we start talking about the other games, we're going to come on to the Arsenal part. I've got to start with this, mate. What a week, mate. Another injury. Jesus Christ, man. What's going on, Ferg?
Oh, I don't know, mate. Look, Havertz has had his critics by some sections of the fan base, not from us, as you know. But how unlucky to go out in warm weather training where you're hoping that will help them to bring back players to fitness. And he picks up such an injury. He's out now for the rest of the season and won't be back until pre-season. We're 4 strikers, 4 attackers out. You know, it looks like we've only got 3 options up top, which we'll talk about later. You know, we got 3 options in the front line. So, yeah.
Do you know what? We will talk about it later, mate. And I've seen Arteta getting some stick this week for not signing anyone in the window as a striker, you know. But, you know, in his defence, I mean, ideally he would have signed someone. I accept that. But in his defence, any team in this Premier League, you know, you lose 3 or 4 up front people and you're really struggling. You are really, really struggling. But I've got a feeling he's going to pull something out of the hat tomorrow. Something is going to appear. Someone's going to score a goal and we're going to be all right at Leicester. I really think that, Ferg. But, mate, listen, let's leave that there. It's only you and me tonight because the other members of this podcast aren't as committed as we are, you know what I mean? So they can't help that.
They're more committed to their other halves than us.
Exactly. You're my other half, Ferg. So
yeah, that's true. You know? That's true.
So, Ferg, listen, we're going to whiz through it, right? We're going to get through it in an hour. I know I'm slurring. I do apologise. I need to burp as well. Wait, I'm going on mute.
Oh, dear, this is going to be a car crash.
I'm back now. Ferg, Brighton v Chelsea, right? This game intrigues me because Brighton ain't playing too badly. Chelsea have hit some form. I'm desperate for Chelsea not to get the 3 points. What do you reckon, mate?
Well, Lewis Dunk is a major doubt for Brighton, and whilst he's not very mobile, he's very, very he's quite a bit of a wall for them to try and get round. Chelsea don't have a recognised striker either in their side, so they're suffering with injuries. You know what's really interesting? You look at Tottenham, you look at Arsenal, you look at ourselves. Liverpool have got quite lucky, but you look at all these top teams and the amount of players that are at injury with hamstrings and so on. It's got to be burnout over the last 2 or 3 years, making up from lockdown and the Euros, the World Cups, and just constant football. It's got to be killing them. But on this game, I think it's going to be a goal fest. I've gone for Brighton 3, Chelsea 2.
Do you know what, mate? I hope you're right. Mate, listen, are you doing the comments as well? Are you bothering with it?
I can do the comments, yeah.
Because it's your job to do tonight. Because I'm the boss tonight. You know what I mean? And I enjoy taking advantage of these moments. I mean, I see Simon Leicester's in the comments. Good evening, gents. Evening, Simon. I'm sorry for the slurage. Hey, taxi for Trev. You're not wrong, son. You are not wrong. PG, the princess is in here. You know what I mean? The princess is in here. Princess, I don't want to. Can you go, please? I don't want you to hear me in a bad way. You know what I mean? It's been a great day. And
Amanda, you better stay and watch this.
My tongue won't do what my head's telling it to do. You know what I mean? But Ferg, you're right. I would love Brighton to win this game. I really would. But I think it's going to be a draw. I'm going for 2-2. Right, a high-scoring draw. But I hope I'm wrong. And you're right, mate, because I'd really like to see Brighton get all 3 points and Chelsea drop away a little bit, you know? So next, Ferg, wait, let me just put me cross.
Should we go to Villa versus Ipswich?
Used to be tonight. Right, Villa Ipswich, Ferg. Villa Ipswich. Now, listen, mate, I reckon Villa could win this 17-0 because Ipswich just aren't doing it, are they? You know what I mean?
Unfortunately not. They don't win many games on the road. They did win a really easy game, one at that new toilet bowl shaped stadium. They beat Spurs, and that was hilarious. Villa are doing quite well, but they have got a lot of games, and their squad is quite stretched. Ollie Watkins and Tyrone Mings are back in contention for Villa after recovering from injuries. I think Konsa, Torres, Cash, Onana and Ross Barkley are all still sidelined, so they have got quite a few injuries. I can't see Ipswich doing very much. They do really well with Liam Delap, and I'd actually like to see him or somebody like him at Arsenal. But I can't see them even getting a goal. I'm going 4-0 to Villa.
Mate, do you know what? It does make me laugh, doesn't it? Because Ipswich are having an awful season, and I've got no gripe with Ipswich. I like Ipswich Football Club. They're near to me. It's an easy away trip. Got no problem with them. But when you say Ipswich have won one game and it was at Tottenham, who claimed to be a big club, it makes you proper laugh. It makes me proper belly laugh. And trust me, when I belly laugh, the earth moves because I've got loads of belly to laugh. I've gone one less than you, mate. I've gone Villa 3, Ipswich 0. But it wouldn't surprise me if he gets to 5, 6, or 7. It really, really wouldn't. Right, next, mate. This is an interesting one now, Ferg.
Mm-hmm.
Fulham Ipswich.
Yeah, well, Fulham at home, as we know, are a decent side, a decent outfit. Oh, more captains coming in. Is that more captains?
Yeah, she's just delivered another one. I'm sorry,
Christ, we're going to be in a mess by the end of this, aren't you?
Try not to disturb you there, but you normally disturb me, so I'm not that upset about it. You know what I mean?
So Fulham at home,
Fulham Forest,
yeah, Fulham at home are normally a good outfit, and I do rate them. But Forest are just flying. I think as a team, they're so united, and they seem to be getting results out of everywhere. The only poor result they had was when Bournemouth smashed them, but otherwise they've been doing quite well. And I'm a little bit worried about going up there in about 10 days' time. Willian could feature for Fulham since returning to the club earlier this month, and Hudson-Odoi is back in training. He could feature as well for Forest. But I think it's going to be a bit of a stalemate. I've gone for Fulham 1, Forest 1, only because I think Fulham are great, but Forest are very, very good too, and I think they'll cancel each other out.
Yeah, you see, I've just seen Arnie's gone there for a 2-0 Forest win in the comments. And I've gone the other way completely, because I think it's about time Forest bubble burst. You know, they've got some great players. They really have got some players playing really well. Woods, I'd never have him at Arsenal, but you can't knock him. He's scoring for fun. And that other bloke who you just said, I can't remember his name.
Hudson Odoi.
Yeah, he's looking the part. You know what I mean? He's looking the part. But I think that Forest bubble is going to burst sooner or later, and they're going to have a little bit of a bad run. So I've gone for a 2-0 to Fulham over Forest, and that lines it up nicely for us to go there when they're on a low and turn them over at Forest. So I'm thinking ahead, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm thinking the draw would actually give them a little bit of a point on the road, and then we give them that comeuppance, and they have that crashing bang on the 19th of February when we go up then and do them 4-0.
No, yeah, I get that. I'm on
Yeah.
the same wavelength, but I think Fulham are going to beat them, and then we'll go up there and absolutely smash them. So, how long? 11. We're only going 11 minutes. This is really good, Ferg. We're moving really quickly. Manchester City, stay humble, versus Newcastle, who absolutely battered us in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. We've got to accept it. We can't argue it. You know, there is no argument. Newcastle turned us over at their place and at our place in the Carabao Cup. But this week, they go to Man City. What happens, Ferg?
Well, Dan Burn is a bit of a doubt for them. They're hoping he'll be back, and that Burn-Botman pairing, really, we struggled to break them down, and Havertz struggled to get by them, especially at the Emirates when I saw it there. Anthony Gordon missed the FA Cup win over Birmingham with a thigh injury. He could be back, and I think if you got Gordon and Isaac, as we know, I think they can be any bit of trouble for Manchester City. Manchester City, it's all about Haaland with them, and I think if they have got Burn and Botman back, they can control Haaland. And I think it will be a really difficult game for Man City. They're not in great form at the minute, even though it is at the Etihad. I've gone that Newcastle will get a point. I've gone 1-1.
Do you know what, Ferg? You are exactly right, mate. You've hit the nail on the head in that Isaac and Gordon are just working so well together, you know. They really are. I didn't notice it until we went up there for the second leg and I watched the game from up high. Isaac just plays that front line and Gordon just nicks the ball behind him. So I've got nothing but praise for him. You know, I'd like to call him out, but I can't call Newcastle out. But I'm like you, Ferg. I think that Haaland will get one, Newcastle will get one, and it'll be a 1-1 draw. But I hope Heath's right. I really hope that Heath is right. So moving on to the next one.
Yes.
South Coast Derby.
Yeah, interesting one.
Bournemouth. Southampton won their last game. Yeah. Bournemouth have been playing really well all season, but not so much away from home. Southampton, Bournemouth. I don't know. I could look at this from both angles and call a win for either side, Ferg.
Well, Bournemouth are unbeaten in the last 3 visits to St Mary's. Southampton are just dreadful. They make Derby County look like, you know, a solid mid-table team in comparison to Southampton at the moment. I really feel sorry for this guy back here who's gone down to Southampton, and you know they're down.
Was that
they're
Kevin
down. No, it's not Kevin. It's Aaron.
Oh, Aaron, big Aaron. Yeah. I love
it.
it.
So I can't see anything but a Bournemouth win. I've gone Southampton not even to get a goal. I've gone 2-0 for Bournemouth, an away win for Bournemouth.
Yeah. Do you know what, mate? As much as I try and make a case for Southampton having a shout in the game, like they won their last league game and all that, and they've got Aaron Ramsdale, who I love, I can't see them being good enough to match Bournemouth. We've taken so many big scalps this season. Mainly at home, I'll accept that. but they've taken so many big scalps this season. Do you know what, Ferg? It's really hard not to slur when you want to slur, but you're on a podcast. You know what I mean? I'm doing my very best. Doing my very best. But I've gone for Bournemouth to win 2-0 at Southampton, just the same as you, Ferg. Just the same as you, mate. Trevor's joined us. Trevor Bibbins has joined us, you know. Rambo's going to get relegated again, and we really didn't want that to happen. A player of his quality doesn't deserve that, does he, Ferg?
No, he doesn't. And I recall when we played them, I bumped into his mum and dad on the way back after the game at the Emirates and had a good chat with him. And he just wants to play football. And that's the reason why he didn't stay and just be a number 2 at the Arsenal, which there was an offer on the table for him to stay there and be a number 2 and then be released or signed onto a further contract later on. But he wanted to play football. He wanted to try and make sure he could get his England career off to, maintain his England position. I'm sure that there is an agreement with Southampton. They paid a lot of money. They broke the bank. £25 million for Southampton is a lot of money to pay for Aaron Ramsdale. I am sure that if they get relegated, they will find an exit strategy for him to maintain his Premier League status and in contention for that England cap again.
Yeah, absolutely, Ferg. Absolutely, because we all know how good a goalkeeper Ramsdale is. He's probably on a level with Raya, but Arteta chose Raya. So as Arsenal fans, we respect that. You know, we respect that. But,
I like Ramsdale for other reasons, but I can see why Arteta made his decision, and I do agree that Raya is probably the better keeper for our team.
Yeah, we've got to be careful because we could really sink back and go back over old ground there, mate. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But if Southampton get relegated and Ramsdale gets a move, I hope it's to a club that is going to enjoy some solid seasons in the Premier League. I really do. Right, Ferg, listen, right? This next one is your second team. I know you've got a soft spot.
I've got a soft spot, not a second team, but yeah.
West Ham v Brentford, right? West Ham, they've hit a little bit of form recently. They're up and down, up and down, up and down. Much like their stadium, up and down, but down, down, down. What a hellhole that is. I wouldn't wish. Do you know, I actually have, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have so much sympathy for West Ham fans having to go and watch games of football in that London stadium every week. It's not good. Proper football fans shouldn't be put through that. It's horrible. But anyway, folks, West Ham, London derby v Brentford. It was doing all right, you know.
West Ham have only beaten Brentford twice in all competitions at home since 1952. So, you know, okay, they haven't always been in the same league together.
Since when?
1952.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, mind you, they weren't in the Premier League for like 50 years.
No, but West Ham were in the Championship as well. So, you know,
true,
maybe Brentford were a league below them. But West Ham have a lot of players coming back into contention. They got the new signing, Evan Ferguson. I'm a fan. Because he's Irish. James Ward-Prowse is recalled from loan. Paqueta is available. Alvarez is available. Tobido is also available. So West Ham's ranks are getting bolstered. Flecking, the Brentford keeper, is a bit of a doubt. I've gone for a West Ham win, and I've gone 3-1 to West Ham. One, because my mate always likes to put a bet on 3-1. I was going to do 2-1, but I thought I'll do 3-1 in honor of my mate who always does it.
See, Ferg, that don't surprise me because I knew you'd go for a West Ham win. 3-1, wow. But like the name that jumps out at me, and you mentioned it, and I've got it written down here, is Ward-Prowse, right? They bought him, then they've loaned him out, then they've recalled him. So I thought he was a decent player, but is he any good?
He's a decent player. He played really well for Brighton. And when West Ham signed him a couple of years ago, I thought, wow, that's a really, really good signing. And when he first started with West Ham, he's a set piece. You know, he can put a ball in on a set piece like you wouldn't believe. But he was playing under Graham Potter and then David Moyes. And with the change of management and change of style of football, but David Moyes maybe not suited him as well. I think that's why he was lent out after David Moyes left. You know, Graham Potter's in there, and he's got Ferguson and he's got Ward-Prowse, two of his players that he really got a proper tune out at Brighton when he was down there. So I think it's a right move.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, and in fairness
for
Potter,
player and team, Trev, as well, for player and team.
Yeah, but yeah, in fairness, they've looked a better side under Potter, West Ham. They look like they're just pulling it together. Hopefully, they'll just escape relegation, because I like going there and winning 6-0, you know what I mean? So
that was a year ago. That was a year ago today, you know that. And all the pictures popped up on my timeline of me and you and the one with Frimmy, that video that Frimmy done. Well, it was a year ago yesterday, I think, or whatever. Yeah.
You're about a day behind, son. It was yesterday. But as much as I wouldn't mind West Ham winning Ferg, I'm opposite to you. I think Bournemouth will win. It could 2-1 win. But I don't mind if I'm wrong.
Bournemouth or Brentford?
If I'm wrong. I don't mind if I'm wrong, Ferg.
Bournemouth or Brentford?
Brentford. Did I say Bournemouth?
Yeah.
I'm blaming the beer. The beer's to blame. And I won't have any argument against that, you know. But
where did
play at Brighton? You know, Ward-Prowse didn't ever play at Brighton. Oh, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Dan.
I thought he played at Brighton.
It
was Palace. Wasn't it Palace he played at? I can't remember.
Well, now you're guessing, Ferg. Be careful, because Dan Gunn is going to come back and bite you.
Yeah, don't worry, Dan. You're walking to Leicester tomorrow. Southampton. All right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, anyway,
I knew it was the South Coast.
I fancy Bournemouth to win 2-1 tomorrow at West Ham. But I don't care if I'm wrong, because I don't want West Ham to go down, because it's an easy away day if you're in the lower tier of the away end. If you're in the back end of the upper tier of the away end, bring your fucking binoculars. Right, next, right? Listen. What's that? Morgan's on the takeover, Trevier. He's not wrong. Listen, Palace v Everton, right? I ain't got a lot of time for Palace, Ferg. I don't know why. I just haven't. Over the years, I've got no time for Palace. But I don't mind Everton. Their last season at that ground in the Premier League, I want them to stay up. Listen, mate. How did we celebrate that equaliser the other night against Liverpool?
I was pretending to watch TV with the wife, and I was watching the match on my phone like this, and all of a sudden, I was some cop drama, and I screamed, "Oh, yes!" So what's that about? Everton scored. And she went, "What?" And she just looked at me and eyes rolled and everything else. On this one, Everton beat Palace at Goodison 2-1 back in September. They haven't done the double over Palace since 2004 and 2005 season. In Palace's favour, Eddie Nketiah could be available after having an ankle injury. Sorry.
That's right, then. Now we don't win, then.
No. There's not going to be a goal scored. It's going to be a 0-0 draw. That's what I've gone for, 0-0.
I've got a mouthful of rum. Sorry, Ferg. I was catching up there, son. You know, right, it's a really interesting thing has happened over this last day or two. Since Everton scored that equaliser, I've been a bit lively on social media, and I actually had a Liverpool fan asking me today, can you tell me when Liverpool fans have been abusive to the Arsenal fans in the last couple of weeks, right? And I just laughed and left it. Because Liverpool fans have said that we are the worst fans ever. We are sickening. We can't take defeat. Arteta's a Lego man. Oh, it's been awful, the predictions. But I'm hoping that we're just within 3 points when we go up and play at Liverpool. That's all I ask, right? Let Liverpool be 3 points ahead and let us go up there and put our necks on the table and see who wins, right? It could actually be the best Arsenal night ever in the history of football. It could be the worst, but I'm happy to risk that, you know. But anyway, going back to this Palace v Everton game, I don't mind Everton. I'm not keen on Palace, but I don't think Everton can win there. I think it's going to be a 1-1, Ferg. I fancy a 1-1.
Okay. So we've both gone for draws on that one then.
Yeah. I wish I could pull Everton out of the act to win it, but I can't. Now the interesting one, my son. Now the interesting one. Liverpool v Wolves, right? Wolves have been under the cosh most of this season. But I thought when we won up there, Wolves played really well. And we were just better on the day.
All 12 of them played very, very well. All 12 of them.
Yeah, exactly. But they did play well, Ferg. And we played better with our 10 men and beat them. But
yeah,
Ferg, wait. Let me put a question to you, son. Wait a minute. I quite fancy Wolves to go to Liverpool and get something, especially after the bounce back from the Everton game, son.
Yeah, to be honest, I think getting knocked out of the cup by Plymouth and then not losing, drawn to Everton in the Merseyside derby, but in the manner that it was done and the way they lost their shit after the game, the manager gets sent off, the assistant manager gets sent off, Curtis Jones got a second yellow, and to be honest, many players in that game, it was blood and bluster, the game. It was great to watch, but there was a couple of Liverpool players that could have had second yellows as well and gone. I'm just wondering if the pressure's getting to their heads, and they've got a lot of games and a lot of big fixtures coming up. They've got Wolves as this weekend. Then they've got City, Newcastle, Villa. Two of those are away from home, and one is at home. So they've got a tough February. I think like Wolves, one game a season. Gooner's just signed a new contract. They don't look great, Wolves, but I just think it's one of those ones that if they can get in their head, and as he said, they're rattled. If we can get, if they can get at them and play, I think they can nick it 1-0, 1-0 Gooner goal in the 91st minute.
Do you know what, mate? I absolutely agree with you, and I honestly think that, and Arsenal fans may not thank me for this, but it has to be said, right? That we could get to the end of this season and say that injuries cost us the title, not Liverpool. I really think we're in a position now. We're deep in the shit with injuries. We really are. We've got to be honest with ourselves. We've got to hope that Arteta pulls the rabbit out of the hat tomorrow at Leicester and finds someone that's going to score some goals, because we're in deep shit. But Liverpool are going to start drawing and losing games. It started against Everton. I think it's going to continue against Wolves. I really do. I really think they're going to struggle against Wolves. And they've got some hard games coming up, Ferg, you know. So, yeah, I think that we can catch them. And what's going to stop us is maybe our injuries, mate.
Yeah, but listen, all teams have had injuries this season. I know Tottenham, who we are, mate. He goes on about his injuries, but we mentioned Bournemouth beating Forest the other day, and you know they struggled to have 11 or 12 first team players available in their squad. So you know we have to deal with injuries. The problem that we've got is where our injuries have been concentrated originally in defence, and now it's all the forward line gone. We'll go into a little bit more detail when we talk about our game, the one after next. But you know, we just have to cope with it. And I think Dan said something in the comments further back about 1-0 to the Arsenal. You know, that's maybe what we need to do. We need to, you know, defensively, we're very, very strong. Set piece again, the dark arts, everything that we talked about over the last few months. That's what is going to get us through and keep us in contention to win the title. I don't know if we can win the title. I don't know if we can win the Champions League, but we're definitely in contention for it this year, despite everything that's gone against us. So, what game are we talking about? Have we moved on to the Tottenham?
No, we're still on Liverpool Wolves.
Liverpool Wolves. Yeah, I just think Liverpool. Hopefully, the heads are rattled. I do worry if Liverpool come through this February period and they get maximum points, or better our points, or equal our points. I think we're in for a struggle to where we are, and then I worry about the idiots on social media who want the season ticket money back, and the people who don't want to sing in songs, and the people who want to go out on Arteta and so on. I worry about them coming out and just making the place bloody toxic again.
Folks, listen, son, I get you so much. And I understand, because we're at a stage of the season now, right, where we're deep in trouble with injuries, right? We really are. But we're still second in the league, you know. We're still right up there in the Champions League. And we've got these idiots calling Arteta out, calling the players out, saying they want their money back from their season tickets. Hang on a minute. This
I'm
season
coughing.
is far, far, far from over, Ferg, you know. I honestly think, right, we've got more chance of winning the Champions League than we have the Premier League. Because I think we're lined up for the Champions League, right? We were proper lined up. But at the end of the day, we've got to play the Premier League. We're right in it, and we've got to play it to win it. And I know that I trust my manager to do that. And I honestly think, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. You said it, Ferg, I know, right? That we're going to pull a rabbit out of the hat tomorrow. I think we're going to pull a rabbit out of the hat. We're going to get the shock of our lives. Something's going to happen, and we're going to score a few goals. But regardless, right, regardless of what happens tomorrow, next week, the day after, we've got to try and we have, right? I'm not talking for everybody, right? But we have got to believe that we've been so unlucky now. Havertz was the final now, if you want. You know, we just can't handle any more injuries. And we're trusting our managers to do it. But we've got to do that. And as Arsenal fans, we've got to get behind them every game, Ferg.
No. I agree. And we'll talk about that when we come and talk about the game. Just before we go and talk about the game, we do need to take a quick moment to make sure that our sponsors are mentioned. No. Our sponsors are mentioned. This program is sponsored by Captain Morgan's. That's why Trevor is slurring.
I am. Look at this comment from Dan, right? Look at this comment from Dan. And do you know what, Ferg? You know, when I first came on this podcast years ago now, when you kindly invited me, right? When you kindly invited me, and I was new to this, never done it before. And I said to you, I'll never divide the fan base. I'm an Arsenal man through and through. I just can't talk down about my team, you know. But over the last season or two, that's becoming really hard to do. And Dan's exactly right here, Ferg. You know,
he is. I'd rather get the last game and then talk about our game, and then we can talk about that at the end, Trev. I'd rather do that because then otherwise we're taken away from the focus. But yeah, definitely, I'd like to come back to that.
Yeah, right. Well, so I've got Wolves to win at Liverpool. You've got did you have a draw, Ferg?
I had a 1-0 win to Wolves.
And what you got to remember, Ferg, is I'm shit face. She's fed me another.
Right. Let's talk about talk about Spurs Man United. That Ferg, just makes me itch.
I'm in charge here, Ferg. So Ferg, let's talk about Spurs v Man United. Right.
It makes me itch. It makes me
win. I'm getting an Uber to Loughton and falling right out with you.
Of course, I haven't gone for Spurs to win. I'd never go for Spurs to win, but that means I've gone the other way. And my brothers, thankfully, they're all in Nashville, in Tennessee, for my sister-in-law's big 5-0, which is tomorrow. So, in case she's watching this, happy birthday, Hazel. I haven't mentioned your age; I just mentioned 2 numbers, so don't worry. I think I got away with that one. Spurs have had their injuries, but Madison's back and Dongi is back. Vicario's back. So there's who are you ringing?
The missus. I want another drink.
All right, okay. United have. I think their manager has come along and said they've got injury issues as well. So they are bringing in academy players. I couldn't go any other way, but I had to go 2-0 to United because I can't go any other way.
Yeah. Mate, it's a game between 2 teams that are really struggling.
They're crap, aren't they?
But
that's taken away my... I can't stand Man United from the old Wenger Fergie days. My brothers are both Man United fans. Can't stand Spurs for the reasons that we do. But they are both awful. And that's not me being nasty towards them.
But there is, Ferg, there is one difference, son. There is one massive difference in that Man United, right? We have to admit, are a big club, right? They've got the history, they've done the business. They're a big club. And then Tottenham Hotspur, right? We can't talk about them on the same level. We can't. I try to make. I honestly do, right? Because I do this podcast. I try to stay, I don't call for anybody apart from the Arsenal, but I try to make a reason for the Tottenham being a big club, right? And it makes me laugh, right? Because Tottenham Hotspur, there's not a big six. There's not a big six. There's a big five, right? And Man United as a big
Newcastle
team.
are doing okay. They could get into that six.
They could before Tottenham, as could Leicester, as could Blackburn, as could Leeds. They've built a shiny new stadium, right? And I think they're a big club. No, that doesn't happen. We've all built shiny big stadiums in our timescale, and it knocks us back a bit. But Tottenham, it knocked them back from being a shit club to being a really shit club. You know what I mean? No, I'm not having it. Man United,
Michael Oliver show as well at the Lane as well. It's the Michael Oliver show.
Is it Michael
Yeah.
Oliver? Oh,
Yeah.
well, I hope he has a nightmare, gives all bad decisions, and Man United win 1-0. Man United win 1-0, Ferg.
Yep. Right, so we're doing Leicester Arsenal, and then we'll talk
hang
about.
on a minute. Wait a minute. You have your comment on that. I'll introduce you.
I've already done that.
She's back. Look. She's back. Oh, I've got a big glass now, Ferg. Wait, I'm going
thanks,
to
Donna.
mute a minute. Wait.
What's he doing? People, please,
ole, ole.
help me.
Here,
Help.
come say hello. There's only 150 odd people watching.
Hello, Donna.
Hi.
He ruined your Valentine's night, not me. It wasn't my idea.
He did.
You've had a great Valentine's Day.
He was like, hurry up, drink your drink.
Right, come on.
Just taking his empties away.
Oh, what, his bags?
Oh.
Fergus is so wrong. Do you know what? I actually do need to go, but unlike you, I can hold it.
Yeah.
Listen,
Come
everybody, listen, right. We are 37 minutes into this podcast now. It's Ferg and myself. We like to have 3 or 4 of us. So if any of you guys out there think you could join us and have an input to this podcast, drop us a message. And you'd be really welcome if you got some things to say.
He didn't run that one by me at all.
What?
You didn't run that by me at all. That you're going to make some announcement.
Because I'm in charge tonight, folks.
That's true.
So, you can't be too Arsenal biased, but you can be proper Arsenal biased. Come and join us because there's 2 of us. And I love this preview show because it's all about the Premier League, but then we end up talking about this great game at the end, right? Ferg?
Let's do Leicester v Arsenal.
Ferg, right, I'm just going to feed you a line here, son.
Go on, then.
Got a bloody clue.
I don't know what we're going to do up top. I think with the injury situation we've got, I think I would like to see Sterling on the left. I'd like to see Ethan on the right, because I'm not going to have Dan pulling me up on my mispronunciation of his surname, and I would put Trossard through the centre. But I do think that we need to just build on what we're good at, build on a defensive unit, build on set pieces. We don't have to go out and we don't have to win 3-0, as Simon said, and the away section will be rocking for sure. But I think we build on being defensively strong, making sure Vardy doesn't get his usual traditional goal. We're 14 games unbeaten on an unbeaten run. I think the longest run we had prior to that was under Wenger, which is 16. I've gone When we spoke last week, when we spoke in the last podcast, I thought we might concede a goal, and I went for 3-1 to Arsenal. But I've downgraded that a little bit, and I'm a 2-1 or a 1-0. But I'm sticking my hat on 2-1 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, do you know what, Ferg? I was really struggling to concentrate on what you were saying then.
I wonder why.
Since Heath said that she's punching. Heath, you're so right, mate. She's so punching. She really is punching. I'm going to leave the comments to Ferg now. But it's a really interesting game because Leicester ain't playing so well, you know. But we had the best back four in the league, right? Any other team in the league, including fucking Liverpool, excuse my language, would want some of our back four, right? So I'm not worried about the defence against Leicester. I'm not worried about the midfield because they're all still there. But up front, we all know that we're in a really, really bad place. We are in a bad place, and we have to accept that, right? We can't keep pushing it to one side. We are in a really bad place. But do you know what, Ferg? I have every faith in Arteta finding the answer. I really do, genuinely do, son.
Yeah, listen, it's one thing that's very important. Like, you're going to be up there. I'm picking Dan up in the morning. We're heading up there for the early kickoff. There's going to be over 3,000 Arsenal fans there, and it's hugely, hugely important that we're combined as a unison and loud, proud, and getting behind the team, regardless of what goes on. We just need to get loud and proud and behind the team to ensure that they know that we're supporting them, because it's tough. You know, if you look at social media and some of that sort of stuff that we talked about, which we'll carry on talking about in a few minutes, you know, it's a bit of a cesspit out there, and I just worry on. I just hope that the players and the team realize that us fans that go to the games and many people who are watching this show do actually have some belief in them.
Oh, listen, Ferg, right? Listen, Ferg. Arteta said today, you know, he said in his press conference, I don't know if anybody watched it this morning, that he trusted the Arsenal fans to be the extra player. And that's a given. That's a given for me. What worries me is, who is that extra player? Who is that extra player? You know, it's Simon says it's time for someone to step up. Absolutely, Simon, you've nailed it. We need to have a pint, by the way, at the Arsenal. You know what I mean? And it's your round, by the way, Simon.
It's always somebody else's round, by the way, Simon. Just to let you know.
Of course, yeah, of course it is. But the fact of the matter is, right, it's going to be someone step up who we don't know, I think, Ferg, you know. Unless he plays Sterling through the middle, which you can see is the obvious, he's got to look elsewhere, you know what I mean? And it's difficult. Every Arsenal fan.
I think Sterling on the left-hand side is where he played at his peak for City when Arteta was managing him. Arteta got the best out of Sterling when he was at City, and Sterling has said that before when Arteta was first appointed as manager for Arsenal. So, you know, there's a lot of respect there for him, and I think him on the left, Ethan on the right, and then you'd have to choose Trossard probably through the middle. He's played, I think, 6 times as a number 9 for us before.
Absolutely, Ferg. I agree with Daniel Gunn in there. Do you want to have a word before we move on? I think
no, it's okay. Yeah, you know, just move on.
No, but listen, right? We're all saying Sterling through the middle. And
no, I'm not. I'm saying on the left. Trossard.
Really? So who's going through the middle, Ferg?
Trossard.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. See, I would prefer to see Sterling through the middle and Trossard staying out wide.
I think what you'll find is they'll float across and they'll rotate anyway. But yeah, that's the way he seems to play everything.
It's interesting because Arteta also has this habit of just sending us all off on a tangent, doesn't he? You know, he calls it out in a completely different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's many people who are dropping out at the minute because their wives are giving them daggers to watching Arsenal on
Heath.
Valentine's night. So we understand, Heath. We understand.
No, well, Heath was Ferg. I nearly swore again. I'm so drunk now. Heath has nailed it. I've got a Rogan Josh on the way. The Rogan Josh is on the way for.
Before we finish up, so you wanted to talk about this point that Dan made, where
Are you leading now, then?
Yeah, I am, just because
You're
I think
in
that's
charge now.
necessary. You're not driving anymore. I've taken the keys off you. Let's do it that way. There we go. So let's talk about these guys. We're talking about the social media side of things, making money from YouTube and TikTok and so on. Dan says that they're leeches.
Yeah.
I understand Dan's perspective. The issue I've got is some of those people are actually my friends, and I know them as individuals and how they are as football fans. And how they are as football fans and Arsenal fans is completely different to the way that most of the few I know are when they're in the stands and when they talk to us face to face. Trevor, you've spoken to some of these people that we know, and they're as passionate about Arsenal as we are. But let's not pick on in particular individuals, but the whole premise of, well, I suppose we're as guilty of it. We've made nearly 11 quid on the back of Arsenal. We've made nearly £11. We've monetized.
Stop it now.
I'm just saying that, you know, there's channels that, for me, I don't have no issue with people making money out of producing content, and because it's a lot of effort. You know what effort goes into doing a podcast and so on. I've got no issue with that. But what I have an issue with is sensationalize everything. It's a bit like you watch the news and everything is just shout.
Stop now. Stop now. Right, because this is it's an area where people can argue, and there's right and there's wrong on both sides, right? But at the end of the day, when I come out of the Arsenal Football Club, win, lose or draw, I'm not going to call my team out. Okay, I'm not going to call my team out. Right, I'm gonna always stand my ground as an Arsenal supporter. Right, and if you're gonna come in and come out as an Arsenal supporter, then don't call yourself that name. Don't call yourself an Arsenal supporter. Call yourself an Arsenal relative, or maybe backdoor supporter. But don't come at me and say you are a proper Arsenal supporter when you can't shout your head off when we lose, when you haven't got reason when we lose, when you're going to call for Arteta's head when we lose, when you're going to say that the club should get rid of its owners when we lose. It was quite
funny, wasn't it? We beat Man City 5-1, and everyone's all over Twitter and social media going, "Oh, we're wonderful, we're back, here we are." And then we go up to Newcastle, spent 6 hours driving up there, 6 hours driving back, lots of money for hotels, fuel, beer and food and everything else. And then people are slagging off the fans, slagging off the team because we lost the game.
Wait, folks. Listen, mate, you're exactly right. You are so right. Okay,
Dan, you've wound me up now.
But listen, this is where we are. You support Arsenal Football Club or you don't, right? Arsenal Football Club has been ups and downs over the years, and we're very expectant at the moment. We are so expectant. It's unbelievable how expectant we are. But if we don't win anything this season, and you're going to turn and call us all out, call me out for being an Arsenal supporter, call Ferg out for being a loud Arsenal supporter, most of all, called Daniel Gunning out, who's a wonderful fella for being an Arsenal supporter. Don't do that at the end of this season, because we support the Arsenal. If you're going to call us out at the end of this season, then the only thing to do is look at yourself, right? Look at yourself, because we go to every Arsenal game. We support our great club through thick and through thin. We're going through a massive injury crisis at the moment, but we're not going to let the side down. And if you're going to call us out for being injured, then that's fair enough. But when it gets to the end of this season, when we look back, win, lose or draw, whatever, don't call the likes of Ferg and me and Dan out for being Arsenal fans, because we've not let the team down all season. We will not let the team down all season. We do not flip-flop on the result of one draw or one score or another. We stick behind our team. Come and join us. Come and join us, right? It's not difficult to do, right? Come and join us, be an Arsenal fan.
Dan, just on a final note, but 2 comments, and then we'll go to close. But put us in League 2 will be no different. We'll still be there. I wonder if AFTV would still be there, or other channels would still be there. And we are the Arsenal class tradition. But don't forget who we are. People need to remember that when they attack our team, it's the class and tradition that sets us aside from others.
Listen, right? You got to get ready to press that button in a minute, yeah?
I've got 2 buttons to press.
You've got to remember, right, that we are on this channel, Guns and Yellow Ribbons. We don't have a massive following, right? But we love the Arsenal, and we will never, ever let the Arsenal down. Now, if you want to join that other side and call us out after every loss, because football teams lose, It happens. Football teams lose, And if you want to call us out after every loss, then move on. Move on. Because this podcast will never let our team down.
It won't. Trevor, I'm going to press that button. I've got a new button to press first. Let's watch this. I saw this on Twitter, I think it was, and I downloaded the video, and I love this. So let's watch this.
I mean, I've said every song's a fucking love letter to something, but that really is my sort of love letter to my hometown, North London, and it's such a tight-knit kind of community. You go down the market, you go down the pub, you're going to bump into 40 people that I've never lived anywhere else. My family have been there, my dad's side, for generations anyway. Weirdly, yeah, I wrote this thing that felt so specific to me, like my tiny corner of London, which is very small, through some miraculous sort of stroke of luck. This song that was literally just for me and my people, I now get to hear 60,000 people sing it at the Emirates every Arsenal home game. Which is, it's still fucking mental, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's this song that weren't supposed to really be anything, and it's like people have it tattooed on them now, people play it at their weddings and play it at their funerals. I mean, it's completely inappropriate for any of them settings. It's one of my favourite things I've ever written. I was so proud of that song, and it was so personal to me and my family and my friends and my community. I'm so glad that it weren't some terrible fucking shitty pop song that's become this thing and I've had to live with it. But it's something that I'm happy to sort of hang my hat on. It introduces people to the environment, and it speaks about the people that you're going to meet on this record in a more general way. And then, the rest of the songs get into the more sort of specific stories and specific characters. And but it really is a kind of window, I guess, into the rest of my repertoire. But yeah, it's fucking mental, that song. I don't even know. All I did was put it out, the people did the rest. Do you know what I mean?
All he did was play it out. The people done the rest. The people are the fans. The fans done it. The fans wanted it. It's nothing generic. It's nothing forced. It's nothing manufactured. It's purely as it was. And to be honest, I love the song anyway, but I love as well that Louis has done that, and because it's by the fans, for the fans, and that's what we are as well. So I also feel a great affiliation to that song and the sentiment of that song for that reason, Trev.
Oh, Ferg. Absolutely, son. Absolutely. When he made the song, when he wrote the song, I don't think he was thinking specifically about the Arsenal.
Oh, you are bollocks.
Right, but it fits perfect. I'm absolutely fucking wankered. It fits perfectly, mate. And it's our song now. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Don't sing it. But don't block it at the Arsenal. You know, That's what we are. It's a massive step forward from previous seasons, you know. It really is. And Ferg, listen, you're going to close in a minute, right? Because I'm shit-faced. I can't talk anymore.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to meet tomorrow at Leicester.
And you're going to ask me to delete this YouTube.
We're going to no, never in a million years. We're going to support our great club because it's what we do. It's what we do. And listen, people, win, lose or draw, right? Injuries or no injuries, you have to support the Arsenal Football Club. It's what happens.
Right. Listen, we've got Valentine's nights and wives to spend some time with. Thank you, everybody, all 171 of you that are in the watching us now. Thank you for joining us on your Valentine's night. It's our shared love of the Arsenal that brings us here. We will be back on Monday night where we'll preview the upcoming game against West Ham, and we'll look back at our emphatic victory against Leicester. Yes, Trevor.
I'm going to have a right headache in the morning, son.
Yes, you are. You have been watching an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Trevor, please.
You're out of order. You're out of order, Ferg.
Please.
It's my podcast tonight. It's my podcast.
Please, Trevor.
So listen, Arsenal fans, get behind our great team. If you see some negatives, fucking ignore them. Like we all do. We all back our players to the hilt. We're going to go to Leicester tomorrow. We're going to win the game. And we're going to ask so many questions about Liverpool this year. We're right in it. We are right in it. Support our club. Don't call our club out. It's embarrassing. We love
Up the Arsenal.
We do.
We do. Up the Arsenal. Fuck the Spurs. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.